Good morning guys. So today we are going to discuss about the inflammation. So starting with the definition, inflammation it is defined as a local response of a mammalian tissue to the injury due to any agent. So in this, the body defense reaction, it eliminate or limit the spread of the injurious agent. Now what all are the causes of the inflammation? So the causes of inflammation are the infective agents like the bacteria. The inflammation, it may be due to the bacteria, it may be due to the viruses, or it may be due to the toxin, fungi and the parasites. And the cause of inflammation is also due to the immunological agents like the cell mediated, the antigen antibody reaction, due to the physical agents like the heat, cold, radiations, mechanical trauma, due to the chemical agents like the organic and inorganic poisons, due to the inert materials such as the foreign bodies. So these all are the causes of inflammation. Now let's discuss what is the basic difference between the inflammation and the infection. So the inflammation, it is a protective response by the body to a variety of etiological agents, while the infection, it is an invasion into the body by the harmful microbes and the resultant ill effects by the toxin. So this is the difference between the inflammation and infection. So there are two basic processes with some overlapping. Number one is the early inflammatory response and the later, which is followed by the healing. So sometimes it causes the considerable harm to the body as well as the anaphylaxis to the bites by the insects or the reptiles, drugs and the toxins, the arthrosclerosis, the chronic rheumatoid arthritis, fibrous bands, or due to the adhesion in the intestinal obstruction. So these are the causes. Important is there are four major signs of the inflammation. So the four cardinal signs given by the Celsus, these are the rubor, it means the redness, the tumor, it means swelling, the calor, it means the heat, and dolor, it means the pain. These are the four signs, and the fifth one is the loss of function, which is discovered by the R. Virchow. Fine. So basically we have 5 signs of inflammation, in which 4 signs these are given by the A.C. Celsus, while one of the sign, which is the loss of function, it was given by R. Virchow. Fine. Now there are two types of inflammation, the acute inflammation and the chronic inflammation. So the acute inflammation, it may be of short duration, and in this it represents the early body reaction followed by the healing, while in the chronic it is of longer duration, and in this the causative agent of the acute inflammation, it persists for longer time. So this is the main difference between the acute and the chronic. Acute, it is of short duration, while chronic, it is of longer duration. Acute represents the early body reaction followed by the healing, while the chronic inflammation, it is the causative agent of the acute inflammation, which persists for a longer time. So the another variant is the chronic active inflammation, in which the stimulus it is such that it induces the chronic inflammation from the beginning. This is the chronic active inflammation. So what all are the components of the chronic acute and the chronic inflammatory responses, in which in this connective tissue cells there are mast cells, fibroblasts and macrophage. These are the mast cells, these are the spindle shaped fibroblasts, this is the macrophage. While in the vessels, these are the polymorphonuclear leukocyte, lymphocyte, the platelets, monocytes, and these are the clotting factors, example the kininogens, and the complement components, eosinophil and the basophil. And in the connective tissue matrix, we have the elastic fibers, we have the collagen fibers, and we have the proteoglycans. So these all are the components of the acute and chronic inflammatory responses. Starting with the acute inflammation, the main first of all, it is of shorter duration, as we already have discussed. So the main feature of the acute inflammation are that there is an accumulation of the fluid and the plasma at the affected site. In this, the intravascular activation of platelet occurs. In this, the polymorphonuclear neutrophils, these act as an inflammatory cell. Important. This is the normal, this is the inflamed. So the acute inflammation, it is divided into the two events, the vascular event and the cellular event. So these two events, these are followed intermittently by the release of the mediator of the acute inflammation. So number one, we have the vascular event, in which there is an alteration in the microvasculature, and the vascular events, it is again divided into two phases, the hemodynamic change and the change in the vascular permeability. So starting with the hemodynamic changes, so in this, first is the transient vasoconstriction, in which there is immediate vascular response irrespective of the type of the injury. So in this, there is an immediate vascular response, but irrespective of the type of injury, in which mainly are the arterioles. Right? So in this, these 2 points are important. The mild injury, it occurs 3 to 5 seconds, and severe injury, it takes 5 minutes. While second is the persistent progressive vasodilation, which is mainly due to arterioles, other to the lesser extent, but mainly due to arteriole. So obvious within half an hour of the injury. So in this, the injury, the timing is within half an hour. Important. There is an increased blood volume in the microvasculature bed, or the microvascular bed of the area, and in this there is a redness and warmth of that particular area. Third is the progressive vasodilation, which elevate the local hydrostatic pressure, in which there is transudation of the fluid into the extracellular space, and in this phase you can see the swelling of the affected area. Next is the slowing or the stasis, in which there is an increased concentration of the red blood cells or the red cells, which increase or raise the blood viscosity. Right? And fifth one is the leukocytic margination, in which the peripheral orientation of the leukocytes, mainly the neutrophil, important, mainly the neutrophils along the vascular endothelium, which sticks to the vascular endothelium briefly, and then it move and migrate through the gap between the endothelial cells, that is the extravascular space. This is what we called as emigration. Right? So in this, in the vascular events, we have two types of phases. First is the hemodynamic changes, and second is the changes in the vascular permeability. So after this, let's discuss the altered vascular permeability, in which there is an accumulation of the edema fluid, the interstitial compartment, which comes from the blood plasma by its escape through the endothelial wall of the peripheral vascular bed. So in this, first there is an accumulation of the edema fluid in the interstitial compartment, which comes out from the blood plasma by its escape through the endothelial wall of the peripheral vascular bed. So when there is an escape of the fluid, it is due to vasodilation and consequent elevation of the hydrostatic pressure. It refers to as transudate. While the characteristic inflammatory edema, when it appears by the increased vascular permeability of the microcirculation, it termed as exudate. Right? See, in this is the normal, where there is a normal increase in the hydrostatic pressure and there is a decrease in the colloidal osmotic pressure and the plasma protein. These are in place. While in transudate, there is an increase in the hydrostatic pressure, like in the venous outflow obstruction, example the congestive heart failure. While there is a decrease in the colloidal or the colloid osmotic pressure, which leads to decrease in the protein synthesis, example are the liver disease. The increased protein loss, example is the kidney disease. So when there is a decrease colloid osmotic pressure, see when there is a decrease in the protein synthesis, the example are the liver disease. When there is an increase in the protein loss, the example are the kidney diseases. Important. So in the transudate there is fluid leakage, while in the exudate there is fluid leakage and there is a protein leakage too, and there is a vasodilation and stasis. There is an increase interendothelial spaces which leads to the inflammation. So what all are the mechanism of increased vascular permeability? In this, first we have the contraction of the endothelial cells. In this, there is a gap formation. Why? Due to the contraction of the endothelial cell. Second is the retraction of the endothelial cells. Third is the direct injury. Fourth is the endothelial injury via PMNS and or the endothelial injury mediated by the leukocytes. And fifth point is the leakiness and the neovascularization. So these are the 5 mechanisms of increased vascular permeability. Now we are going to discuss them one by one. See, there are the mechanism of increased vascular permeability. So in this, there are the gaps due to the endothelial contraction. It may be due to the venules, the vasoactive mediators like the histamine and the leukotrienes. Most common, the gap due to the endothelial contraction, it is most common and it is fast and short-lived in terms of minutes. While when there is a direct injury, it is also due to the direct injury, arterioles due to capillaries, due to venules, and due to toxin, burns, chemicals. These are fast and may be long-lived from hours to days. And when there is leukocyte dependent injury, it is mostly it involves mostly the venules, the pulmonary capillaries. It is the late response and it is long-lived in terms of hours. And in this, there is an increased transcytosis. It is due to venules. It is due to vascular endothelium derived growth factor. And in this, there is a new blood vessel formation at the site of the angiogenesis. It persists until the intracellular junction forms. Now starting with the first, that is the first mechanism, that is the contraction of the endothelial cell. So it mainly affects the venules. The endothelial cell, they develop the temporary gap, the contraction resulting in the vascular leakiness, and it is mediated by the release of the histamine, bradykinin and other chemical mediators. Important for your MCQ. It is of short duration. It usually occurs in between 15 to 30 minutes immediately after the injury. Important. Next is the retraction of the endothelial cells. So in this, the structural reorganization of the cytoskeleton of the endothelial cells, in which the reversible retraction takes place at the intercellular junction. So it is mediated by the cytokines such as the interleukin 1 and the TNF, tumor necrosis factor alpha. Very important for your MCQ point of view. Now third is the direct injury to the endothelial cells. So it causes the necrosis and appearance of the physical gaps. So the process of the thrombosis, it is initiated at the site of the damage of the endothelial cells. It affects all the level of microvasculature. Either it appears immediately after the injury and it lasts for the several hours or days, and the cause is due to the severe bacterial infections, important, or it delay of 2 to 12 hours and last for the hours or the day, and moderate thermal injury, it is due to the moderate thermal injury or the radiation injury, important. Fourth is the endothelial injury mediated by the leukocytes. So in this, there is an adherence of the leukocytes to the endothelium at the site of the inflammation. There is an activation of leukocytes which release the proteolytic enzyme and the toxin and the toxic oxygen, and it causes the endothelial injury and increased vascular leakiness, and it mostly affects the venules, and it is called as late response. Very important. And fifth one and the last is the leakiness and the neovascularization. So in this, there is a newly formed capillaries under the influence of the VEGF, which means the vascular endothelial growth factor. Under this, the new capillaries are formed, and the process of repair, and in tumors these are excessively leaky. Now after this, coming on to the cellular events. So the cellular phase of the inflammation consists of the two processes. Number one is the exudation of the leukocytes. Second is the phagocytosis. Starting with the exudation of leukocytes. So in this, we have the changes in the form element of the blood. We have a rolling and adhesion. We have emigration or emigration. So this is the emigration, and we have chemotaxis. Starting with the changes in the formed element of the blood, in which the central stream of the cells, which is comprised by the leukocytes and the RBCs, these are the central stream, while the peripheral cells, which contains the free layer of plasma close to the vessel wall. Later, the central stream of the cells, this get widens, while the peripheral plasma zone become narrower. So what happens is, in this, the central stream of the cell, it get widens, while the peripheral plasma, it get narrower. Why? Because of the loss of the plasma by exudation. Important. So this phenomena, it is called as margination. In this, the neutrophils of the central column, it come close to the vessel wall, which is known as the pavementing. Important. Next is the rolling and adhesion. So in this, peripherally marginated and the pavemented neutrophils, they slowly roll over the endothelial cell lining the blood or vessel wall. This is known as a rolling phase. I repeat, in this, the peripheral marginated pavement neutrophils, these are slowly roll over the endothelial cells. This is known as the rolling phase, while the transient bond between the leukocytes and the endothelial cells, these become firm and more stronger. This is known as adhesion phase. So the following molecules bring about the rolling and the adhesion phases. Important. What all are the molecules? The selectins, the integrins, immunoglobulin, gene, and superfamily adhesion molecules. Important for your MCQ point of view. Next stage is the emigration. So after sticking to the neutrophil, after sticking of neutrophils to the endothelium, the former move along the endothelial surface till a suitable site between the endothelial cells is found, where the neutrophil throw out of the cytoplasmic pseudopods. it cross the basement membrane by damaging it locally. Collagenesis and escape out of the extravascular space is what we called as emigration. So the diapedesis, it is the escape of the red cell through the gap between the endothelial cell. This is called as passive phenomena, in which there is an increased hydrostatic pressure, hemorrhagic appearance to the inflammatory exudate. Important. Now next is the chemotaxis. So the after extravasating from the blood, the leukocyte then migrate toward the site of the infection or the injury along the chemical gradient, and this process is what we called as chemotaxis. I repeat, after the extravasating from the blood, the leukocyte they migrate at the site towards the site of the infection along a chemical gradient. This is called as chemotaxis. So they have to cross the several barriers. What all barriers? The endothelium, then the basement membrane, then the perivascular myofibroblast and the matrix. These all are the barriers which it has to cross. So the potent chemotactic substances and the chemokines for the neutrophil, these are important. The leukotriene B4, which is LTB4, the arachidonic acid metabolites, the components of the complement system, in which the C5a and C3a, it plays an important role in the particular. Cytokines, the interleukin, particularly interleukin 8. These all are the chemokines for the neutrophils. Next is the phagocytosis. Important. So what is phagocytosis? It is basically the process of engulfment of the solid particle material by the cells. So it is of two types, the PMNs, which means the polymorphonuclear neutrophils. It is early in the acute inflammatory response, and it is also called as macrophages, while second are the macrophages, in which the circulating monocytes and the fixed tissue mononuclear phagocytes are present. So this phagocytic cells, they release the proteolytic enzyme. What all are the enzymes? The lysozyme, the protease, collagenase, elastase, lipase, proteinase, gelatinase and acid hydrolases. Important. These all are the proteolytic enzyme which is released by the phagocytic cells. So what all are the steps or the processes of the phagocytosis? So it occurs in the three steps. First is the recognition and the attachment, the engulfment and the killing and degradation. Starting with the recognition and attachment. So in this, the phagocytosis, it is initiated by the expression of the surface receptors on the macrophages. Fine. So it is further enhanced by the microorganisms which are coated with the specific protein. Important. The microorganisms which are coated with the specific proteins are known as opsonins, and the opsonins, these are the IgG, immunoglobulin G opsonins, the C3b opsonin and the lecithin. These are the three major opsonins. So they establish a bond between a bacteria and the cell membrane of the phagocytic cell. Important opsonins. Second is the engulfment. So in this, the formation of the cytoplasmic pseudopores around the particle, it is due to the activation of the actin filament around the cell wall. Important. Eventually the plasma membrane, it gets lysed and fuses with the nearby lysosomes, and these are known as phagolysosome. And third process is the killing and the degradation. So in this, the killing of the MCO, it takes place by the antibacterial substances, and it is further degraded by the hydrolytic enzymes. Some enzymes I have already told you. Sometimes this processes it fails to kill and degrade some bacteria like tubercle bacilli. Important. Now after this, let's discuss the disposal of the microorganism. So in this we have two mechanisms, the intracellular and the extracellular mechanism. So in the intracellular mechanism, there is an oxidative bactericidal mechanism by the oxygen free radicals, and these are the MPO dependent and MPO independent. It means the myeloperoxidase dependent and myeloperoxidase independent. So the oxidative bactericidal mechanism is by the lysosomal granules, and the non-oxidative bactericidal mechanism. Second is the extracellular mechanism. It is due to the granules and the immune mechanism. So starting with the intracellular mechanism, so in this they kill the microbes by the oxidative mechanism and less often by the non-oxidative pathways. Oxidative bactericidal mechanism is by the oxygen free radicals. So in this there is the production of the reactive oxygen metabolites like oxygen H2O and hydroxyl. See, for the activated phagocytic leukocyte, it requires the presence of the NADPH oxidase. Why? For the activated phagocytic leukocytes, we require the NADPH oxidase, while it is present in the cell membrane of the phagosomes, which reduce the oxygen to the superoxide ion. Fine. So the superoxide, it is subsequently converted. See, the superoxide ion, this is the superoxide ion. It is converted into hydrogen peroxide. The bactericidal activity is carried out either via enzyme MPO myeloperoxidase or through MPO myeloperoxidase independent. So there are two types of killing, the MPO dependent and MPO independent. So in the MPO dependent, the myeloperoxidase, so in this the myeloperoxidase, it acts on the H2O2 in the presence of the halides, and it forms the hypohalous acid. From the H2O2 it forms the hypohalous acid. And second is the MPO independent killing. In this there is a mature macrophages which lack the enzyme MPO. The bactericidal activity by producing the OH negative or the hydroxyl ions and the superoxide singlet oxygen. So the H2O2 in the presence of oxygen, it is known as the Haber-Weiss reaction, or in the presence of the ferrous, it is known as Fenton reaction. Important for your MCQ, two types of reaction, the Haber-Weiss reaction and the Fenton reaction. So after this, there are oxidative bactericidal mechanism by the lysosomal granules, in which the preformed granules, these are stored product of the neutrophils and the macrophages. These are secreted into the phagosome and the extracellular environment. Number one, while the non-oxidative bactericidal mechanism, in this some agents, these are released from the granules of the phagocytic cells and they do not require the oxygen for the bactericidal activity. So these are the granules and the nitric oxide. So the granules, they causes the lysis of within phagosomes, example the lysosomal hydrolysis, the permeability increasing factor, the cationic protein, which are the deficits, the lipases, proteases and DNases. While the nitric oxide, these are the reactive free radicals which are similar to the oxygen free radicals. These have a potent mechanism of microbial killing. They produced by the endothelial cells as well as by the activated macrophages. Important. Now after the intracellular mechanism, next are the extracellular mechanism. In this we have the granules and the immune mechanism. The granules, these are the degranulation of the macrophages and neutrophil. Important. And in the immune mechanism, it is immune mediated lysis of microbes which takes place outside the cells by the mechanism of the cytolysis or the cytolysis, antibody mediated lysis, and by the cell mediated cytotoxicity. So these are some of the clinical example of the leukocyte induced injury or the inflammatory disorders. So these are the acute, these are the chronic. So in the acute, we have the acute respiratory distress syndrome, in which the main cell or the molecule which involved in the injury are the neutrophil. In acute transplant rejection, the lymphocyte, antibodies and complement. In asthma, we have the eosinophils and the immunoglobulin E antibodies. The glomerulonephritis, we have the antibodies, complement, neutrophils and monocytes, which are the cells or the molecules which involved in the injury. In the septic shock, the cytokines. In vasculitis, the antibodies and the complement, neutrophils. And while in the chronic inflammation, in arthritis, we have lymphocytes, macrophages and antibodies. In asthma, eosinophils, other leukocytes and immunoglobulin E antibodies. In atherosclerosis, the macrophages and lymphocytes, but lymphocytes may be or may not. The chronic transplant rejection, it is due to the lymphocyte and cytokines, and in the pulmonary fibrosis, it may be due to the macrophages or fibroblast. Very important. Next are the chemical mediators of the inflammation. So the chemical mediators that are responsible for the vascular and the cellular events, it may be of two types, the cell derived and the plasma derived. Fine. So the cell derived, these are produced locally by the cell at the site of inflammation, while the plasma derived, these are mainly from the liver. Some mediators, these are derived from the necrotic cells. So the chemical, what all are the chemical mediators of the inflammation? So in this, we have the cell derived and we have the plasma derived. In the cell derived, we have the mediators and their source. First of all, the preformed mediators in the secretory granules, these are the histamine and the serotonin. The source are for the histamine, the mast cells, basophil and platelets, and for the serotonin, the source is source are the platelets. While these are the newly synthesized, in which the mediator are the prostaglandin, the source are all leukocyte and mast cells, the leukotrienes, all leukocytes and mast cells, the platelet PAF, the platelet activating factor, all leukocyte and the EC. While the reactive oxygen species, these are all leukocyte, nitric oxide, macrophages, cytokines, your macrophages, lymphocyte, mast cells, and neuropeptides, these are the source are the leukocytes and the nerve fibers. Very important. While in the plasma derived, the major source, as you all know, is the liver. So the plasma, it may be due to the complementing activation and due to factor number 12, which is the Hickman factor activation. So in the complement activation, the mediator or the sources are the C3A and the C3-5, which causes the anaphylatoxin, important, C3B and C5B9, which is the membrane attack complex. While factor number 12, in this the mediator and the source are the kinin system, that is the bradykinin, and coagulation or by the fibrinolysis or the fibrinolysis system. These are the mediators, important. Now after this, chemical mediators of the inflammation, they induce their effects by binding to a specific receptor on the target cell. It may be one or it may be very few targets, or it may be multiple. Some may have the direct enzymatic or the toxic activities, like the lysosomal proteases. These are having the direct enzymatic or the toxic activities, important. Some may stimulate the target cell to release the secondary effector molecules. The control of the responses and the tightly regulated are the amplify a particular response and through the opposing effects. Once the activated and the released from the cell, the mediators either quickly decay, example the arachidonic acid metabolites, or they inactivated by the enzymes Example, the kinase inactivates the bradykinin, important, and some of them get eliminated. Example, the antioxidant scavenge the toxic oxygen metabolites, and some of them gets inhibited by the complement inhibitory proteins. Very important for your MCQs. Next are the cell-derived mediators. So these are sequestered in the intracellular granules. These are the rapidly secreted upon the cellular activation. Example, the histamine in the mast cells. They are synthesized from the beginning in response to the stimulus. Example, the prostaglandin and the cytokines. So we have the various cell-derived mediators, the vasoactive amines, the arachidonic acid metabolites, lysosomal component, the PAF, which is the platelet activating factors, cytokines, reactive oxygen species, which is the ROS, and the nitrogen oxide and neuropeptides. So we are going to discuss them one by one, starting with the vasoactive amines. So these are stored as a preformed molecules in the mast cells or the early inflammatory cells, in which first is the histamine, in which it is of many cell types, particularly mast cells, which is adjacent to the vessels, circulating the basophils and the platelets. Important. So there are a variety of the stimuli or the stimulants, like which causes the physical injury, the immune reaction involving the binding of the immunoglobulin E antibody to the Fc receptor on the mast cells. So the C3a and C5a fragments of the complement, which are the enophylatoxins, the leukocyte derived histamine, which release the proteins, the neuropeptide, example the substance P, important, the certain cytokines like the interleukin 1 and interleukin 8, the arteriolar dilation and increased vascular permeability. There is an endothelial contraction and the endothelial gaps, itching and the pain, and inactivated by the histaminases or histaminase. Important points. Next is the serotonin. So it is 5-hydroxytryptamine, perform vasoactive mediators which effects similar to those of the histamine but less potent. So these are released from the platelets dense body granules during the platelet aggregation. So next is the arachidonic acid metabolites. These are also called as eicosanoids. So in this, the variety of the biological processes, it includes the inflammation and hemostasis. See, in every step of inflammation, it includes the inflammation and the hemostasis. There is a short range hormones that act locally at the site of the generation, and then they decay spontaneously. Either they decay spontaneously or are the enzymatically destroyed. So these are derived from the leukocyte, mast cells, endothelial cells and the platelets, dietary linoleic acid. So the arachidonic acid metabolites, these are the components of the cell membrane phospholipid, and the arachidonic acid, it is released from the phospholipid via the cellular phospholipases. Important. So it have been activated by the mechanical, chemical or the physical stimuli, or by the inflammatory inhibitors such as the C5a, and the metabolite, they proceed along either of the two major enzymatic pathways, the cyclooxygenase and the lipoxygenase. So the cyclooxygenase, these are the prostaglandin and the thromboxanes. These are the autocoids, while the lipoxygenase, these are the leukotrienes and the lipoxins. Important. Coming on to the cyclooxygenase pathway. So the cyclooxygenase pathway, it is a fatty acid enzyme which is present in the COX-1 and COX-2. The metabolites of the AA to the following derivatives, these are the prostaglandins PGD2, PGE2 and PGF2 alpha. The thromboxane A2, which is the TXA2, the prostacyclin PGI2 and the resolvins. Important metabolites. So the major anti-inflammatory drugs that act by inhibiting the activity of the enzyme COX are the NSAIDs and the COX-2 inhibitors. Important. So cyclooxygenase pathway, in which there is an activated arachidonic acid. With the help of the cyclooxygenase, it gets converted into PGG2, which further leads to PGG2 plus the free oxygen radicals. And in this we have 5 types: the PGD2 and PGE2, which are the vasodilators, bronchodilator, and they increase the permeability. The PGF2 alpha, these are the vasodilator and bronchoconstrictor. The TXA2 are the vasoconstrictor, bronchoconstrictor, and the platelet aggregation. And the PGI2, these are the vasodilator, bronchodilator, and anti-aggregating agent. And resolvents, these are the inhibitor of the pro-inflammatory cytokinins. Important. Second one was the lipoxygenase pathway. So it is a predominant enzyme in the neutrophils. These act on activated arachidonic acid to form the hydroperoxy eicosapentaenoic acid, which is the 5-HPETE. So further peroxidation forms the following metabolites: the 5-HETE, which is intermediate, leukotrienes, and the lipoxygens. Important. So this is the lipoxygenase pathway, in which there is an activated arachidonic acid. In the presence of lipoxygenase, it gets converted into 5-HPTE, which is then converted into the 5-HETE, which is chemotactic, and then LTA4, and then the LTB4, which is the chemotactic and the cell adherence, the LTC4, LTT4, LTE4, and lipoxin, which are the smooth muscle constrictor, vasoconstrictors, the bronchoconstrictor, and they increase the vascular permeability. Next is the platelet activating factor. So in this, the phospholipid membrane, these are derived mediator with a broad spectrum of inflammatory effect. The membrane of the neutrophil, monocyte, basophil, endothelial cells, and the platelet by the action of the phospholipase A2. Important. So the function of the platelet activating factor are: it stimulates the platelet vasoconstriction and bronchoconstriction, inducing the vasodilation and increase the vascular permeability, enhance the leukocyte adhesion, the chemotaxis, leukocyte degranulation, and oxidative burst. It also stimulates the synthesis of other mediators, particularly eicosanoids. Next are the cytokines. These are the polypeptide substances which are produced by the activated lymphocytes, which are the lymphokines, and activated monocytes, which are the monokines. So major cytokines in the acute inflammation important are the TNF and the interleukin-1. The chemokines, these are a group of the chemoattractant cytokines. The chronic inflammation, interferon and interferon gamma, IFN gamma, and interleukin 12. Next are the tumor necrosis factor and the interleukin-1. These are produced by the activated macrophages as well as the mast cells, endothelial cell, and some other types of the cell. These are stimulated by the microbial products such as the bacterial endotoxin, immune complexes, and the products of the T lymphocytes. So in this, the principal role of inflammation is of the endothelial activation. There is an expression of the adhesion molecule on the endothelial cells, which increase the leukocyte binding and the recruitment, and they also enhance the production of the additional cytokines and eicosanoids. And the TNF, it increases the thrombogenicity of the endothelium and causes the aggregation and activation of neutrophils. Important. The interleukin-1, these are the fibroblasts, which results in increased proliferation and production of the extracellular matrix. These are the functions very important for your MCQ. So it may enter the circulation via the systemic acute phase reaction and causes the fever and lethargy, hepatic synthesis of various acute phase protein, metabolic wasting, and neutrophil release into the circulation, and then there is a release of the adrenocorticotropic hormone, which includes the corticosteroid synthesis and release. Important. So in this, first there is a bacteria product immune complexes such as the toxin, physical injury, and other cytokines leads to the activation of the macrophages and other cell. and which leads to TNF and interleukin 1, which causes the endothelial effect, the systemic effect, fibroblastic effect, and the leukocyte effect. So the endothelial effect, it causes increased leukocyte adherence, increased PGI2 synthesis, increased procoagulant activity, and decreased anticoagulant activity, and increased interleukin 1, interleukin 8, 6, and PDGF. These all are the endothelial effects. While the systemic effect, it causes fever, increased sleep, decreased appetite, increased acute phase protein, hemodynamic effects like the shock, and neutrophilia. While the fibroblast effects, it causes increased proliferation, increased collagen synthesis, increased collagenase, increased protease, and increased PGE synthesis. While in the leukocyte effects, these are increased cytokine secretion, interleukin 1 and interleukin 6. Coming on to the chemokines. So chemokines, these act primarily as the chemoattractant for the different subsets of the leukocytes. These also activates the leukocytes. So these are classified into 4 groups, out of which the 2 are the major group. So these are the CXC chemokines, which involves interleukin 8, the CC chemokines, which includes the MCP1. Next is the reactive oxygen species. So these are synthesized via NADPH oxidase from the neutrophils and from the macrophages, important, and by the microbes, immune complexes, cytokines, and a variety of other inflammatory stimuli. Within the lysosomes, they destroy the phagocytosed microbes and the necrotic cells, and in the low level they increase the chemokine, cytokine, adhesion molecules expression and amplifying the cascade of the inflammatory mediator, important. Next is the, this one is the reactive oxygen species, and we have discussed the low level. Coming on to the high level, so in this, the tissue injury may be occur by several mechanisms, like by endothelial damage with thrombosis and increased permeability, by protease activation and antiprotease inactivation with a net increase in the breakdown of ECM and direct injury to the other cell type, and through the various antioxidant, through the protective mechanism against the ROS, catalase, superoxide dismutase, and glutathione. Next is the nitric oxide. So it is a short-lived soluble free radical gas which is formed by activated macrophage during the oxidation of arginine by the action of the enzyme NO synthase, or the NO nitric oxide synthase. So it occurs in the 3 forms. Type 1, which is NOS, which is the neuronal, has the no role in IM. Type 2, which is INOS, which is induced by the chemical mediators like macrophages and endothelial cells, and type 3, which is eNOS primarily, but it is not E exclusively within the endothelium. So there is the nitric oxide, it plays many role in the inflammation, including the relaxation of the vascular smooth muscle, which causes vasodilation, antagonism of all the stages of the platelet activation like the adhesion, aggregation, and degranulation, reduction of the leukocyte recruitment at the inflammatory sites, and the action such as microbicidal, which is a cytotoxic agent with or without the superoxide radicals in the activated macrophages, important. Next are the neuropeptides. So these initiates the inflammatory responses. These are the small proteins such as the substance P, important. They transmit pain signals, regulate the vessel tone, and modulate the vascular permeability. These are prominent in the lungs and in the GIT. The neuropeptides. Coming on to the plasma protein derived mediators. So these are the circulating proteins of the 3 interrelated system, the complement kinin, and the clotting fibrinolytic system. The inactive precursors that are activated at the site of the inflammation are the action of the enzyme. Each of these systems, it has an inhibitor accelerator in the plasma, These are the negative and the positive feedback mechanism respectively. The factor number 12 of the clotting factor, it plays an important or a key role in the interaction of the four systems. Next is the Hickman factor or the factor number 12. It helps in the protein synthesis in the liver. It initiates the four systems involved in the inflammatory response, that are the kinin system, the clotting system, fibrinolytic system and the complement system. It gets activated by collagen basement membrane or by activated platelets. The factor number 12, it has the three systems, the clotting system, kinin and the fibrinolytic system. And the factor number 12, when in contact with the endothelium in the clotting system, there is fibrin which gets the fibrin split products, and then the complement system, and these are then the permeability factors. While the kinin system are the bradykinin, which leads to the complement system and permeability factor, and in the fibrinolytic system there is plasma, which again act in the complement system, and there is an permeability factor, and when there is an increase in the permeability, it leads to the clotting factor and permeability factors. The clotting system, in which factor number 12A, which is a derived proteolytic cascade which leads to the activation of thrombin. The functions of thrombin, very important. It cleaves the circulating soluble fibrinogen to generate a insoluble fibrin clot. The fibrinopeptide, it increases the vascular permeability and the chemotactic for the leukocytes, and binding of the thrombin to the receptor on the endothelial cells, and there is an activation which activates and enhances the leukocytic adhesion. So in this, the factor number 12 contact and leads to 12A. The factor number 11 get converted with the help of factor number 12A into 11A plus 8A and PF3. So the factor number 10, it get converted from 10 to 10A, or activated factor 10A with the help of these three, and the activated factor number 10A, the VA and PF3, it helps in the conversion of prothrombin to thrombin, while thrombin, it helps in the fibrinogen to get converted into fibrin, while the fibrinogen, it get converted into the fibrinopeptide with the help of the plasmin. Coming on to the fibrinolytic system, so Hickman factor, it induces the clotting system, and the fibrinolytic system, it controls over the two systems. So it limits clotting by the cleaving fibrin. In the absence of this, even minor injury could lead to the coagulation of the entire vasculature. Important. The plasminogen factor, it releases from the endothelium, leukocytes and other tissue, and the kallikrein from the kinin system. The cleavage plasminogen, it is a plasma protein which further forms the plasmin. Important points. So the fibrinolytic system, or the plasmin, it is multifunctional proteases that cleaves the fibrin. It cleaves the C3 complement protein, and there is a production of activated C3A. The active Hickman factor, they amplify the entire set of the responses. Right? Next is the kinin system. In which the Hickman factor, it activates the prekallikrein. This is the prekallikrein activator, acts on the plasma kallikrein to give the kallikrein. See, in this, the plasma prekallikrein, it get converted into kallikrein with the help of the prekallikrein activator. The kallikrein acts on the kininogen to give the bradykinin. Right? So the conversion of the kininogen into the bradykinin with the help of the kallikrein. So the bradykinin, these are short-lived, rapidly degraded by the kinases present in the plasma and the tissues. So the kinin system, that is the bradykinin, it is a slow contraction of the smooth muscle. The bradykinin, it acts in the early stage that is, causes the vasodilation, increased vascular permeability and pain. Coming on to the complement system. So the complement system, it plays an important role in the immunity as well as in the inflammation. It consists of the plasma protein, which is from C1 to C9, which activate at the site of the inflammation. It contributes to the inflammatory response by increasing the vascular permeability and the leukocyte chemotaxis. The activation of the complement, which is tightly controlled by the cell associated and the circulating regulatory proteins. Inappropriate or excessive complement activation, example in the antibody mediated diseases, and serious tissue injury in a variety of immunological disorders. Coming on to the complement system, the critical step in the activation of the biological active complement product is the activation of the third component, which is C3 to C3A, conversion of the C3 into activated C3. This occur in the following step, or in 3 steps: the classical pathway, which is the antigen antibody complexes; the alternative pathway, which is triggered by the bacterial polysaccharides and the microbial cell wall components; while the lectin pathways, and it is the plasma lectin binds to the mannose residue on the microbes, activates early component of the classical pathway. So as the C3 activated, further activation of other complement protein takes place from C1 to C9. So the complement system, the action of the inactivated complement system in the inflammation are under the C3A, C5A and C4A, which are the anaphylatoxins. These activate the mast cells and the basophil to release the histamine. Important. The C3B, it acts as an opsonin, while C35, it acts as a chemotactic for leukocytes. Very important for your MCQ. The MMAC, which is the membrane active complex, C5B to C9, it acts as a lipid dissolving agent and causes holes in the phospholipid membrane of the cell. Each and every line is important. So the factor number 12 get converted into the activated factor number 12 with the help of the collagenase basement membrane activated platelets and with kallikrein, and it leads to the kinin cascade and the clotting cascade. So in the kinin cascade, the pre-kallikrein, it get converted into kallikrein with the help of the activated 12 factor, which further forms the HMWK, which leads to the bradykinin and the fibrinolytic system, in which the plasminogen, it get converted into plasmin with the help of the kallikrein, and the plasmin, it acts as a complement cascade, in which the C3 get converted into activated C3 with the help of the plasmin, and further the plasmin leads to fibrin split products, and in the clotting cascade, the factor number 11 get converted into factor number 11A with the help of the activated factor number 12, and factor number 10, it get converted into activated factor number 10 with the help of the activated factor number 11, and the prothrombin factor 2, it get converted into thrombin with the help of the activated factor number 10A, and the fibrinogen, it leads to fibrinopeptides, and the fibrinogen get converted into fibrin with the help of the thrombin, and then the fibrin, it gets divided into the fibrin split products. Coming on to the vasodilations and the prostaglandins. So the prostaglandins are the nitric oxide and the histamine. Increase the vascular permeability, and the histamine and the serotonin, C3A and C5A, bradykinin, leukotriene, C4, D4 and E4, PAF and the substance P, leukocyte recruitment and activation through TNF, interleukin 1, chemokine, C3A, C5A, leukotriene B4 and bacterial products, fever is interleukin 1 and TNF, prostaglandin, pain, the prostaglandin, bradykinin and neuropeptide, tissue damage, and in prostaglandins, the lysosomal enzyme of the leukocyte, reactive, the ROS, the reactive oxygen species, and the nitric oxide. This is the treatment. Coming on to the chronic inflammation. So the inflammation of the prolonged duration, which occur from week to months to years, in which the active inflammation, tissue injury, and healing proceeds simultaneously. It mainly involves the three events, that is the angiogenesis, the mononuclear cell infiltrate, and the fibrosis, which leads to the scar. Important. So causes of chronic inflammation: following the acute inflammation, the persistence of the injurious agents, or because of the interference with the normal process of the healing. Example, the osteomyelitis, pneumonia terminating in the lung abscess. Important. Second is the recurrent attacks of the acute inflammation, in which the repeated bouts of the acute inflammation culminate in the chronicity of the process. Example, the recurrent UTI infection, chronic pyelonephritis, repeated acute infection of the gallbladder, and the chronic cholecystitis. So in the chronic inflammation, it's starting as the de novo, as the low pathogenicity, is chronic from the beginning. Example, the infection with the Mycobacterium tuberculosis and Treponema pallidum. Important. What all are the mediators? We have the macrophages, lymphocyte, plasma cells, eosinophil, and the mast cells. So first is the macrophages. So the macrophages, these are the dominant cell of the chronic inflammation. Important as an MCQ. Derived from the circulating monocytes. In the reticular endothelial system, it is also known as mononuclear phagocyte system. In the macrophage is present in the liver as a Kupffer cell. In spleen, is present in the lymph node as the sinus histiocytes. It is present in the CNS as the microglial cell or the macroglial cell, and in the lungs it is present as the alveolar macrophages. Very important. So there is a circulating monocyte which get adherent and then it get emigrated, and which leads to the tissue macrophage, and with the help of the activation by the microbes and the dead cell, there is an immune response. With the help of the cytokine IFN, it leads to the activated macrophage, which further leads to the tissue injury and the inflammation and the fibrosis. So the tissue injury and the inflammation, it is a reactive. In this, there is a reactive oxidation of the nitrogen species, proteases, cytokinins, including the chemokines, coagulation factor, and AA metabolites. And in the fibrosis, there is a growth factor, PDGF, FGF, and TGFB, the fibrinogen cytokines, and the FGF, which means the angiogenesis factors is the FGF. Next are the lymphocytes. So B and the T lymphocyte, these migrate the inflammatory sites. These are the chemokines. Lymphocytes and the macrophages, these interact in a bidirectional way, and these are important in the chronic inflammation. While third one are the eosinophils. These are the inflammatory sites around the parasitic infection as a part of the immune reaction, which is mediated by the immunoglobulin E. These are associated with the allergies. Important. Induced by specific chemokines. Eotaxin, the granules contain a major basic protein which is highly charged cationic protein. These are toxic to parasite and also causes the epithelial cell necrosis. Next is the mast cells. These are the watch cells which are widely distributed in the connective tissue of the body. Both acute and chronic inflammatory responses, these are present in both acute and chronic. These elaborate the cytokines such as the TNF and the chemokines. The atopic individual, the individual which are prone to allergic reaction, in which the mast cells armed with the immunoglobulin E body. As the environmental antigen enters, it releases the histamine and AA metabolites and causes the anaphylactic shock. Important mechanism. Next is the systemic effects of the chronic inflammation. So in this we have a fever, anemia, leukocytosis, increased level of ESR, and amyloidosis. So the systemic effect of the inflammation, it is also known as acute phase reaction. The cytokinins TNF, interleukin 1 and interleukin 6 are involved. It is an acute phase response consists of several clinical and pathological changes, which includes the fever, the elevated plasma level of the acute phase protein, the C protein, C-reactive protein, which is CRP, the fibrinogen, serum amyloid A protein, the leukocytosis, and the septic shock. The fever, it is especially when the inflammation it is caused by the infection. The pyrogens, these are the prostaglandins which synthesis in the vascular and in the perivascular cells of the hypothalamus. The neurotransmitter are the temporary and the reset. The lipopolysaccharide from the bacterial cell wall. The exogenous pyrogens, these are the leukocytes like interleukin 1, the TNF. The endogenous pyrogens, these are the COX, AAPG. These are the exogenous pyrogens and endogenous pyrogens. So this is the whole process of the chronic inflammation. When the injury occurs at the cell, there is maybe due to infarction, bacterial infection, toxin and trauma. It leads to the acute, first it leads to the acute inflammation, in which there are vascular changes, neutrophil recruitment and mediators, and then it get converted as a resolution, which leads to the clearance of the injurious stimuli, clearance of the mediator, acute inflammatory cells, replacement of the injured cell, and normal function. But when there is a pus formation or an abscess, it leads to the fibrosis, which means the loss of function. After the acute inflammation, the progression which leads to the chronic inflammation. So when there is in the chronic inflammation, when the injury occurs, it may be due to the viral infection, chronic infection, persistent injury, and autoimmune disease. It leads to the chronic inflammation, which includes the angiogenesis, mononuclear cell infiltrate, and fibrosis or scar, which leads to the healing and finally results in the fibrosis, which is a loss of function. Fine. And the acute inflammation, it also leads to pus formation or abscess, which on healing leads to the fibrosis. And the acute inflammation, it directs on the process of healing, it leads to fibrosis, which leads to the loss of function. So these are some of the important points which are to be remembered for your exam point of view. So the blood macrophages, these are the monocytes. The tissue macrophages, these are the histocytes. The lungs, the alveolar macrophages are present in the lung, in the brain, the microglia, liver, Kupffer cells, bone, osteoclast, kidney, mesangial cells, placenta, Hofburg cells, and in the spleen, the littoral cells. Very important for your MCQs. So guys, this is all about the inflammation. Please go through it once and try to make the notes. Thank you.